Hello, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Two Cookies and a Coke, a podcast about film with two dudes, three movies in about an hour. I am one half of your podcasting duo here, Herschel Gillis, and I am joined today by...
Maxwell Rinehart.
And Maxwell, what are we covering today?
We are covering the Gregg Araki Teen Apocalypse Trilogy.
And I'm very excited to talk about this as the inaugural episode. This kind of started out due to us watching I Want Your Sex, which came out this year from Gregg Araki. Neither of us had seen any of these three. So this is going to be a nice conversation about these here. And the films, of course, include Totally Fucked Up, The Doom Generation, and lastly, Nowhere from 1997, which before the Criterion release, which we both used for this, was actually unavailable on anything but a VHS and a Laserdisc until the Criterion release. There's never been a disc release until like a year or so ago. So these are, even though it's an old movie, it was kind of hard to get a hold of before then. So,
It's just so crazy to me.
It is wild. It's my favorite of the three as well. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, the Doom Generation has had its own release a few times, and I think it was like a music licensing issue for Nowhere that they couldn't get the rights to it until
Interesting.
recently. But yeah, you can call this the other name for this is the James Duval Has a Bad Time trilogy. Because
Sad and moody James Duval.
James Duval in his sketchy jeans and smoking cigarettes, and then he just has a bad time.
Ministry shirt. I love that.
Yeah, no, Gregg Araki is definitely the man. Like, he definitely knew what was up. Like, the Ministry shirt, he's got, and, I mean, we'll get into these in full here, but in the Doom Generation, the band Skinny Puppy, all of them are involved in the, like, sort of climactic last scene here. He's very in tune with, like, the punk community as a whole. I mean, these are very, like, punk rock feeling movies, but there's always, like, a Gregg Araki feel to everything. Like, you know when you're watching a Gregg Araki movie. I mean, even I Want Your Sex, which came out this year, I mean, these movies came out almost 30 years ago, was when Nowhere came out. It's coming up on 29 years now, so it's like, over that course of 30 years, you can still... He's, you know, Gregg Araki's aged, but you can still feel it's his, like, distinct style in that way.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, starting off here, the first, I don't believe it was the first Gregg Araki movie in general. I believe he had made, what was it?
I think three other features before this.
Yeah, he got started on this a little bit late into his career, or not, I mean, not super late into his career, but like, he, you know, has been established, but we started out with Totally Fucked Up, a aptly named movie.
What a fucking punk rock name for a movie, first of all.
No, yeah, it's great, and it's like, I feel like this being named Totally Fucked Up describes like the feeling of all three of these movies too, so it's definitely like a apt start to the trilogy here. But yeah, we'll go over like a little bit of the background on these. I'm assuming just not going to attempt to spoil anything, but we're going to spoil a little bit. So if you haven't seen these, pause the podcast, go watch them, because spoiler alert, in that way they are all fantastic.
Yeah, they're great.
This is definitely like a seminal piece of the queer filmmaking canon, especially this first film here. And Totally Fucked Up, it's sort of a loose plot. It's more of like a series of connected vignettes, I would say, with the same cast of characters. These gay teens who sort of have to adapt to, you know, where they're living in Los Angeles. You know, just dealing with relationships, homophobia, the things you would expect, you know, a gay teen in the early 90s to be dealing with here. So Maxwell, I'll let you get us started off here. What did you think about this one? I know this was your first time watching it too.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, I going into the trilogy itself, I had known a little bit about the Doom generation, but the other two films I had not known a whole lot about. And so going into Totally Fucked Up, I was like, first off, with the videotaping aspect of it, I mean, it reminded me a lot of Sex Lies and Videotape, but it also reminded me of Hisayasu Sato and his
Mm-hmm.
films, which we may cover a few of those in the
Yeah,
future.
absolutely.
But I don't know. I just really love the punk rock aesthetic of everything. I mean, from the title, like I had mentioned, that's such a punk rock title, but like the overall aesthetic, the way it was made. I know he had done it with Skeleton Crew. Sometimes it was uh, 2 to 3 people on set with him. He was the
Mm-hmm.
cinematographer. He was the editor. He was the director. Which I know his three prior features he'd done that in that same way. But um, yeah, just a crazy time capsule, L.A. time capsule, wild movie.
Yeah, no, it totally is. It's such a like maximalist film in a lot of ways too.
In the
Like, I mean,
best
even the way,
ways.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Gregg Araki's films are like, I don't know, they're like counterculture, but they're so like the pop aesthetic in these is so pronounced. Um, this definitely feels like a movie that I feel like is one of those things that's like been asked to play loud. Like the movie starts with it says,
Yeah,
the movie literally starts with another homo movie by Gregg Araki. So it's like you kind of already get like the vibe that he's going for right off the bat here.
yeah.
And
It's almost like the MTV culture a little bit. I feel
mm-hmm.
like just videos and um, I don't know. Maybe it was a child of that kind of era.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's very, like there's New York movies, and this is a very much like a Los Angeles movie. This very much feels like the city is like part of everything, and it's sort of like a unique like experience that these people are dealing with. There's like a real sense of realism to this too. Like despite it being very maximalist, it's also pretty grounded. All the performances feel very authentic, especially James Duvall, who's in all three of these. Um, I've been a fan of him for quite a while. Even before seeing these, he's in SLC Punk. He's forgot the name of the rabbit from Donnie Darko. He's in
But yeah,
May.
he is the rabbit from Donnie Darko. That's right.
But yeah, he's so good in this. Like he definitely like he plays this tortured teen. He's just kind of like disconnected from everything around him. He sort of is this like floating through life. Um, Almost reminded me of something like The Seventh Continent by uh, Michael Haneke.
Which I
Definitely
haven't
felt like,
seen.
oh
I
well,
still
yeah,
need
we're
to
gonna
see
cover that
that.
eventually. And a
Yeah,
much this is, despite being depressing, is not quite that level, but the vibe is definitely like the dissatisfaction and like depersonalization from reality is definitely prevalent.
yeah.
And I mean, the whole cast in this movie, it's just very very solid. I think James Duvall in this was only like 20 when this was being filmed or 21. So very early on into his career, and it's like it's. I mean, even compared to other things, this is definitely like a standout performance. Just his like facial expressions, you can tell a lot in this film. And he's just sort of floating through everything, just like a zombie in a lot of ways, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out himself. And by the time he figures it out himself a little bit, I mean, it's kind of like a sinking ship at that point, I would say. It's a very tragic film in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You could argue all three are very tragic films.
yeah, yeah, all three of these, James Duvall is a. If you like James Duvall, you don't want to see him get hurt. Don't watch these. He is he gets put through the ringer in a lot of ways, emotionally, physically. Um, Yeah, and I feel like these are, I don't know if they're like reflective of Gregg Araki's like personal life as well, but there
Mm-hmm.
almost is like this trailing theme through these of like James Duval in particular, even though he has a different name in all three of these films, kind of feels like if you take out the ending of things, almost feels like one character developing like into understanding his sexuality and who he is as a person.
And I know that's Gregg Araki's styles. I know his scripts are very almost like diary entries almost. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
you're onto something there.
Yeah, it definitely feels like great. He's definitely Gregg Araki's muse. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in these here, it feels like he's putting a lot of himself into the characters that he's writing for him, and it is funny because going into this, I didn't know um, like how loose of a trilogy this would be, considering the endings of these. There's not really, without spoiling. I mean, you can kind of get what I'm saying, but there's not a way to bring certain characters to the next movie without having a like paranormal aspect to that. Let's say that. Um,
Otherworldly, shall we say?
yeah, exactly. um, but he does connect them in a way, and I really like the like subtle references. There, this is not a spoiler. It's a group that you will see in the next film we'll talk about, but there is a group of neo Nazis in the Doom generation that are like a group of serial killers that um, do horrific things to gay men, and they're listening to the radio and totally fucked up. And there's a part where on the radio they're like talking about this Nazi group that's committing these things, and it's such like a throwaway line initially, and it becomes such a big
Mm-hmm.
plot point in the following one. It's just a really interesting little thing, and you can see that between all three of these movies. There's like a slight threads that just connect them. So even though the characters are unrelated, it's like these same groups are going through the same struggles, even if it's in a different, either a different level or like a different context. It's kind of that same like internalization and finding out, who you are as a person while also being, completely desensitized to like the world around you. There's so much violence in these films. And it's done in such a Gregg Araki way. Like the violence in these films is very pronounced. It's over the top, but like the people react to it in a very like sane, like this is just an everyday aspect that we have to deal with type of way, and it's very disturbing in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought one of the things I was kind of blown away by and totally fucked up was and this is kind of a thread across all of his movies I feel like is just the amount of lust that's in it. Like he's so good at filming lustful scenes where you're just like I just want him to fucking kiss and make out and fuck.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh there's a sequence in Totally Fucked Up. It's like in a parking garage and I was just
Yeah.
like, I just want to see them fucking bang it out, dude, so bad.
Yeah, it's like almost like aggressive in a way too. Like the way that Gregg Araki films like these like sexual tension moments, I almost feel like they're gonna start fighting.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of anger and aggression towards it, but
And it's great. Yeah, that parking garage scene is fantastic, especially like the aftermath of that too, and just
hmm
continuing. Um, James Duval, I mean, we keep calling him that, but Andy in this, it keeps continuing like his spiral into this dissociative state where he's kind of disconnected from reality. Um,
hmm
and that final moment, won't say what happens, but like when the group is together after the events of like the finale of the movie, um, you almost like they almost look. I mean, they're shocked, but I don't know. It seems like it's just another thing that just happened with them and that they just have to deal with. It feels like they react to it in a similar way to like what they do just world events.
There
It's
is a
very
level of
depressing.
yeah, there is a level of acceptance to it that is like I said, very depressing.
And it's definitely carries over. That becomes like a major theme in the Doom generation as well. Like continuing that thread, it's like a major. It seems like whenever the cast or group of characters in this sort of figure out something about themselves, it sort of leads into being like the primary theme of the following film. But yeah, totally fucked up. Great film. Um, I feel like
Flew
it's
by.
done. You said what?
It flew by, I feel
But
like.
yeah, I did all three of these, dude. I could just sit down and watch the entire trilogy here. They're very quick paced. Um, and I know I mentioned the Seventh Continent earlier. It's sort of one of those things where it's like even more mundane moments are very interesting to watch just based on like character interactions with each other. Um, and even like just the little like subtle performances in this that I think are really impressive, especially given that the cast in this was so young and it was presumably done with actors that didn't have a ton of experience. Um, Araki starts dealing with more experienced actors in the following ones. Like you start seeing bigger names in the following films, but this one kind of feels special in the way that it's like the rawest feeling of the three of these.
Yeah, yeah, and at the end we'll kind of go through which ones were my favorites. But initially, I was like, man, I really, really dug Totally Fucked Up, and for that reason, where there seems to be a realness, there seems to be a rawness to everything, um,
Mm-hmm.
that I really dig in movies.
And it was funny watching this as like I had seen Gregg Araki films before, not a ton before this. I mean, now I'm more um, inclined to check those out as well. But I'd seen Smiley Face, I'd seen Mysterious Skin, and then the latest was I Want Your Sex, which while not the like most positive movie of all time, it is certainly like a very funny dark comedy. So going from that to Totally Fucked Up is very jarring.
It is, but you can still see kind of the auteur stamp of Gregg
Mm-hmm.
Araki through it. You could tell that the same director made it, I feel like.
He's just such a talented director as well. Like, I mean, we're gonna get into it with the rest of these as well, but like every Gregg Araki movie that I've seen is just like a minor masterpiece in its own way.
Hmm.
And he can handle so many different genres well, and he sort of even balances that and Totally Fucked Up. Like, it does have funny moments despite being depressing. And those get more pronounced in the following two, but I mean, he's good at a lot of things. I mean, Mysterious Skin is like one of the most like emotionally devastating films of all time. And he can do that just as well as making like a stoner comedy like Smiley Face, and you can still you can watch either one, you still know it's a Gregg Araki movie, and I feel like that's the stamp of like a really talented filmmaker.
Yeah, agree.
But he does follow that up, um, for lack of a better transition here. 2 years later, with the Doom generation once again, starring James Duval. Um, and this time he gets Rose McGowan as the secondary lead here. So this one follows two young people once again. Um, all three of these, just as the title suggests, Teen Apocalypse Trilogy. We follow these teenagers as they go around. But this time we get a young man named Jordan and a young woman named Amy, who are these two teenagers, and they pick up this drifter named Xavier. Um, and this is not a spoiler because this is like literally the beginning of the movie. Xavier kills a clerk at a convenience store, and the three sort of start this almost like road. It's almost a road movie in a lot of ways, like this cross country or just driving to try to escape this, but no one really knows what they're doing. They're just kind of dealing with each other, and once again, there is a massive amount of sexual tension in this film. This,
Yes.
in fact, might be like a top five horniest movie ever made.
Yes. Um, the clerk scene, again, I didn't really know what I was in for, and then the clerk scene happened, and I was like, "All right, you got me. I'm ready." With the talking head, the headless talking
Mm-hmm.
clerk, that shit was crazy, dude.
No, for real. I mean, like the explosion of this is so nuts. and it's kind of like that Gregg Araki like theme of violence being so over the top, but it's so normalized in the world they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like even in the convenience store, the person there has a sign above their head, and it says "prosecutors will be executed" or "shoplifters will be
Shoplifters.
executed." Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
funny. And then like the headshot of the person is like, it's such a comically violent scene. Like the person's head flies off, and like you said, they start talking, and it's like the immediate reaction of the other people there are just to start fighting them again. Like the guy's that's been killed, his wife just like there's no like sad moment or shock. She just starts trying to kill them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
it's just and they just take it in stride. Like that's a major theme in this movie. Like this complete desensitization to violence in general. Um, until it affects them personally. And it's such an interesting thing. And it's very real. Like, no matter how cartoonish and over the top, this is a very satirical movie. Like, just the commentary that Gregg Araki has on, like, we see the news, it's like people are dying all the time, and it just becomes a statistic. Um, and just that normalization of violence is just. That moment just really sets off the rest of the film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I almost felt like, as much as I kind of have qualms with this movie I'm about to mention, I mean, it almost felt very tethered to a movie like Natural Born Killers, like
Yeah,
that type of.
this is Natural Born Killers, but just way hornier.
Yeah, yeah, and kind of better, I think. But
I agree. I do agree.
yeah,
I think there are
yeah,
a lot of flaws with that previous film. I mean, it's sort of this one kind of toes the line, but I think comparing the two Natural Born Killers sort of almost becomes what it's sort of satirizing rather than being the satire. Like it sort of falls into that same trapping of like the film becomes so over the top that it just becomes like I don't know, you just don't care about it as much. Like the violence just becomes, another thing there.
you kind of roll
Um,
your eyes at it at a few times.
yeah, and it's strange that this one you don't either. It's so
Yeah,
cartoonish in a lot of ways.
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure. I think it's probably just like the directing, the script writing. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and it's written so well. Rose McGowan is not typically an actress that I care for, honestly. I mean, she's in movies that I like, but she's never the biggest, aspect of the reason I like them. But her performance in this, like, as this sort of, I don't know, she almost seems
Angsty
like,
teen.
yeah, she's angsty, but you sort of feel like this fear in her a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she actually pulls it off really well. It was definitely a highlight, pleasant surprise in this one. But I know you mentioned you had some qualms about this, and I think mine should be pretty similar. So I want to hear what your thoughts are, because I do really like this movie, but I do think it's the most messy, I would say, of the three of these.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because we watched the final director's cut, but did you know that there's three different versions of this film that exist? Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No.
Okay, so uh, there is the version that we watched, which premiered at Sundance in like 1995, and
Mm-hmm.
then after the movie was picked up, the distributor was like, "Okay, we gotta, particularly towards the end of the movie, we have to cut out some of these more violent sequences." So there's an R-rated version, which is what I assume a majority of people have seen, where it cuts out a lot of the harsher parts towards the end. So there's that version, and then apparently there's a Blockbuster version where Blockbuster wanted to make their own version of it, basically. And I was looking around on eBay trying to find this version, but apparently it's like 20 minutes are cut out of it, and it
Mm-hmm.
just totally butchers everything in the movie. Um, I would be really intrigued to see that version. But again, I looked on eBay and I couldn't find any Blockbuster version of the movie. Uh, but in terms of qualms of the movie, I don't know. I mean, there could be something said of the movie is too over the top. I know we kind of mentioned there's a good balance of it, but um, I know there were times when um, uh, I would get not necessarily annoyed with Rose McGowan's character, but it's like, man, she's saying fuck a lot.
Yeah, no, yeah,
and,
yeah,
and I feel like there might be some loose threads, and maybe this is part of a mysterious aspect of like Rose McGowan's character, but you know, everywhere she goes, people recognize her and they go, "Hey, you're so and so, get back here," and then they run away.
hmm
And that's never really necessarily answered in the film. And then there was the one plot line I had with or the one plot line with Parker Posey where they're in the bar.
yeah,
I was expecting Parker Posey to come back at the end and get her revenge, or maybe she would save her uh, towards the end. But I don't know. There was certain missing links that I was like, man, I wish they would have followed through with those. But
yeah. It seems like they just. It feels like there's just a lot of plot threads in this that didn't get wrapped up, despite there being more repetition than the other two films. Because, like you said, it does follow that same formula. I mean, after about the first, I don't know, I'd say 30 minutes of this, it does kind of delve into the we go to a bar or a location, somebody recognizes Rose McGowan's character, they have a fight, the person starts chasing them, they hook up. Not the person chasing him, but everybody, hooks up at one point. And then they just move on to the next like group of people that are chasing them down.
yeah, at a certain point, I stopped giving a shit. Not necessarily stopped giving a shit, but I was more interested in the relationship between the three of them rather
Mm-hmm.
than where are they going and who's recognizing them. I was more wanting them to fuck basically. So
Yeah, and it was yeah, I'm with you. And it's that kind of leads into like one of my things about this. This is most likely just a personal issue. But Jordan as a character got on my nerves more than in the other two films here, just because he feels like I don't know. I guess that he's trying to figure himself out. I get it. It's heavily
he's a bit
implied that
whiny.
yeah, he's definitely like he's with Amy. They've been together all this time. And it's like obviously heavily implied, like it's a major thing that he's either bisexual or gay. I would say bisexual. I mean, everybody in this movie has sex, though. There's not really a like discernment between anything in this. Everybody just kind of wants to hook up at all points in time. But he's very whiny, but he never does anything to like even address his problems until like the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like I get it, but this one it just feels like the character development of him is way more abrupt. Like it's subtle during parts of like he does change a little bit when Xavier is introduced and he started like, maybe I want to hook up with this guy. Like, and Xavier obviously, is very open with his sexuality and everything like that, and you kind of get the feeling that like Jordan wants to do that. But I mean, and really until the end of the movie, there's not a ton that really happens to develop him, and it just feels very abrupt when it actually does happen. So
Hmm.
while the ending is very shocking, um, yeah, I don't know. It just feels like it could have been, cooked a little bit more there. Give us like a few more minutes of like those two.
Right. Right.
But I mean, I feel like we have to talk about that ending as well. I know it's going into spoiler territory, but we we have to talk about. I mean, like this, it's very shocking.
Very. Very. I was expecting how shocking it would be.
Yeah, I mean, I should have. I don't think I was expecting it to go that far. But like the
Hmm.
way that it's edited and everything is so disorienting,
Hmm.
and it's like you don't. There's um. I mean, we kind of have to spoil this a little bit. So if you don't want to spoiler, skip to like 5 minutes into the podcast from here. Um, I'll give it to you. just a few seconds to do that. If
You've
you want
been
to go,
warned.
you've been warned. If you want to go to this blind, go do so. That's final warning. But here we go. The group of them get attacked by a group of neo Nazis. With they are all hooking up at this point. So Amy, Jordan, and Xavier are having a threesome.
Finally.
Finally, after 80 minutes of knowing that it would happen. And like very graphic dialogue, I will say, from Xavier earlier on, talking about what it feels like and everything. But it's gonna happen either way. But they are hooking up. It's in this like a band. I don't even know what it was. It's like
a warehouse, I think.
Yeah, it's like very desolate, and they have a fire and everything.
Mattress.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's like this abandoned building. So it's like that's the other thing. It's like I don't know how have they been followed by these neo-Nazis this entire time? But anyway, they see them having sex, and at this point, Xavier and Jordan are presumably, doing things together in this because they do like actively call that out. But anyway, they come and take Jordan, and I mean, for apologies for my bluntness, but they castrate him.
Yes.
And murder him, and it is extremely, extremely disturbing.
Yes. It reminded me of, and I know Gregg Araki is a Nine Inch Nails fan, and there's a Nine Inch Nails song at the very beginning of the movie, but it reminded me a lot of like a Nine Inch Nails song or video or performance where it's just so in your face and unapologetic, aggressive.
Yeah, it feels like what was that Nine Inch Nails video where it's just the like murder?
So it's they made for the EP Broken from Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
They made like a whole ass like 25-minute short film basically, and it's like a snuff film essentially.
Yeah, and it's very similar to that, just the way it feels like a music video.
Yeah.
But then this is the way that it's edited and everything, and almost makes it, despite there being like actual graphic content shown, it's much more impactful seeing like the faces of characters and like this disorienting camera work.
The flashing lights.
Yeah, it's very in your face, and like very, very like borderline traumatizing. This is one of the more disturbing films I've seen in a while, just because of that last scene there.
Yeah.
And then after this happens, though, it has one of my favorite ending lines of any film of all time, because this culminates. This is up there with like the ending of Happiness for me, where it's kind of like just a representation of the movie as a whole, where they're all so desensitized to violence that Xavier and Amy are driving away after seeing Jordan murdered here, and Xavier is just eating a bag of chips, and he looks at Amy and he just asks her, he's like, "Do you want a Dorito?" And then the movie just ends.
Cool Ranch Doritos, baby.
Absolutely diabolical.
I was thinking the whole time, especially when he was eating Doritos, but the whole time I was watching this, I was like, I can smell this movie. There's certain movies I feel like you can smell, and I don't know.
This is a very sweaty movie.
Yes, it's a very sweaty, very dirty, greasy movie. Yeah, which I say that as a total compliment. Like, being able to smell a movie, I think is a compliment. So.
No, absolutely. And despite like all the little like complaints about this, I do think this is like definitely, it's earned its status as like a classic of the 90s for sure.
Yeah.
And James Duvall has had a bad time twice so far.
2 in a row. He's 2 for 2 on the bad times.
He's 2 for 2, and he's about to have a bad third time in 1997's Nowhere, where, spoiler alert, at least this time he does not die.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least we're one up on there. We got old James Duvall at least surviving, and at least he makes it out of the 80 minutes this time. Finally,
he's spared.
he's spared and someone else is not, and we will. This is a this is a hard movie to talk about. This is my favorite of the
Yeah.
three. I know it's probably your least favorite of the three, and I know I can completely understand why.
Yes.
We will definitely spend some time on that because I think we have very. Um, I think the reasons I like this might be the reasons that this is sort of probably a lot of people's least favorite films. I mean, of the trilogy. I mean, the least favorite of the trilogy here. But this one, once again, sort of almost goes back to the totally fucked up, like, style, I would say, like, the way the plot is formatted, where it's more of a, series of vignettes, almost, of, like, this group of teenagers going to parties, hooking up with each other again, and just going about their lives in Los Angeles in the 90s. But this time, it is much more surrealistic, to put it lightly. Like, there is an entire alien abduction subplot in this film, which I feel like if you came from the previous two, where the first one is the most grounded, the second one is, we're getting there, but you're with it, and then this is fully goes just full this insano mode. This almost
You were
reminded
talking.
me of Party Monster, like in its like visual style.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
We will have to cover that at some point as well. It's this very like over the top like Los Angeles club scenes and a lot of this film like that film.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, you were talking about what totally fucked up the maximalism of it. I mean, this is like maximalism to the max. Like,
Yeah, it's there is nothing. This is about as subtle as like a sledgehammer to the face.
yeah.
It is not a subtle film. The dialogue in this is just bizarre as well. Like the
Mm-hmm.
insults in this film are absolutely nuts. Um, like they almost feel like schoolyard insults, but they are just so far beyond that, where they're crude. But it's like, how do they even think of these at the time? Like I mean, you get called like, I mean, everything under the sun. There is a reference to a body fart or body part or a bodily fluid in every line of dialogue in this film.
This was okay. This was in the Doom generation, but I really loved talk about insults. Uh, Rose McGowan calls someone a schmegma breath,
Yeah,
dude.
diabolical.
Yeah, but yeah, there were so many in nowhere. There were so many just one-liners that you could quote.
One of my favorites was when they are yelling at someone and she says, "Get over here, you Goomba!" Like the Mario
Yeah,
enemy. I was hee hawing. It was absolutely hilarious. Um, but this film has a much bigger cast as well. Um, but just like more people that you'd recognize. This one has, in particular, it has Christina Applegate in it as someone named Dingbat is her official character name. Everybody's name in this is there's Dingbat, Elvis, Ducky, Cowboy, Egg, Zero, Lucifer, and James Duvall's character's name is just Dark, and all this is just completely. It's treated like the most normal thing ever. Nobody pays
it's
attention
their
to these
names.
names, and it's just I don't know. I feel like this is definitely Gregg Araki doing this the most he can vibes wise versus actually caring about his writing. Um,
Hmm.
it's just very in your face, is putting it lightly.
Hmm.
Uh,
But I almost think that to a certain extent that's the point, right? Because I mean, the movie is essentially about L.A. and L.A. is very maximalism and to the like in your face and to the point and weird and freaky. And you have, I mean, I lived in L.A. for a little bit, and you kind of have those weird encounters with people or people think aliens are there or there's religious cults that are trying to take over and recruit you to come join them. So it's like it's super. It's not totally far fetched. I feel like.
yeah, um, yeah. It's like I don't know. The character named Handjob though, I absolutely fantastic. They're like I forget what they said. It's either Handjob and Cowboy or Handjob and Elvis. I was like, that line has never been spoken in human history until this moment. Um, but it has Ryan Phillippe as well, who is in Cruel Intentions, which I believe only came another 2 years after this. I mean, he was on a generational role of playing just sexually disturbed individuals.
We have Heather Graham, almost. I think she was doing Boogie Nights around the same time, but yeah, Heather Graham. I was excited to see her, and she is just an absolute freak in this movie.
Yeah, she is. I think that can be said about the entire cast. This is the absolute freakiest group of people I think I've seen in the film. Um, this film will make you feel very vanilla when you watch it. There's a lot of weird things that happen in this. One of my favorite characters, though, or favorite aspects of this is, gosh, I forgot her name. Who was it from? American. God, what am I just blanking on now? The kid's girlfriend, Mina Suvari. Yeah, from American Beauty. She's a teenager in this, and she has a boyfriend who is named Zero and is also a
That's right.
child.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and their interactions are just so bizarre. Like it's very uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes.
Um, yeah, just very strange. They're all trying to get to this party, but it's like everybody knows who this guy is that's running this party. I forgot who it was that was holding it. But everybody's trying to get to this guy's party, but it's like these kids and everybody's like just passing each other on the road. Never interact with each other the entire movie, but they just mention, "Oh yeah, he's having a party. That's where we're
Mm-hmm.
going." And it's like, "Oh, I know him." It's like, "Oh, okay." We all just know this one guy in Los Angeles. Um, but yeah, this is just James Duvall's character, named Dark. Like I said in this, is trying to understand what's going on around him, but he's almost like a stoner character. So it's like when he sees the alien in this film, I didn't know if it was like actually supposed to be happening, but
Mm-hmm.
it of course does because he is trying to get with this guy named Montgomery who has dual colored eyes and almost looks like an alien himself. And there's like an air of
Mm-hmm.
mystery to that. Um, and once again, spoiler alert, skip ahead again if you don't want this. But Montgomery gets abducted by the alien, who we also never learned the name of. I wish you know, we just accepted that this alien is there too quickly. I just have to say,
Everybody has crazy names. The alien's name would probably be something like Tom or
yeah, no,
Joe
no,
or
probably,
something generic.
yeah. There's somebody named Mel in this, and it's like, oh, okay. Somehow that's the weirdest name in this, just compared to everybody else. So we'll call him Tom the Alien, but Tom the Alien abducts um, Montgomery. Montgomery comes back, and this entire time, Dark is sort of like his girlfriend is Mel, and she we can call her like the cheese tray because she likes to get passed around at all the parties. That's kind of her character. She is very open about it, so it's not like a remark about the character. Like that's just the character. She's not cheating on
Yeah.
Dark. She makes it
Yeah.
very clear that this is what they do. It's kind of like her whole thing. And Dark is he says that he's like it's like acts fine, but you can tell that he's very lonely. Um, he feels very isolated because of this, so he wants to get with Montgomery, and they are in this they are together at the end of the film, and he says something along the lines like, "I'll be here as long as you promise never to leave me." And he says, "Oh yeah, I promise." And then it's like all of a sudden he just starts shaking, and I'm like, "What is happening?" So of course, I mean, as you would expect, a giant bug comes out of Montgomery. Presumably is Montgomery. Says, "Okay, I'm out," and then leaves, and that's the end of the film.
Yeah. Fucking mic drop.
I sat there for a solid 3 or 4 minutes questioning what my life choices had been to lead me up to this moment. But yeah, I absolutely love that. Like once again, like Gregg Araki's ending line, the last two films we've talked about here are just fantastic.
Hmm. Is the ending something that elevates the movie more to you, or was it already kind of your favorite before the ending?
I think before the ending, I think Totally Fucked Up was my favorite. Um, but then that ending happened, and it was just such a like weird and ballsy like way to end the film while also fitting the theme in my eyes that it definitely as like it elevated it to the top for me.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely puts the batshit crazy cherry on top of the batshit crazy cake. So
Yeah, in a film where God, Ryan Phillippe and his girlfriend are making out with chocolate, and it is the least sexy thing ever. It's supposed to be this very like erotic thing, but it is so just messy. And it was, I'm not gonna lie, I was like over there almost gagging. Like just when they
oh,
pull back and they show them, it was grossing me out so much.
have you ever seen the Mike Lee movie Life is Sweet?
I haven't.
There's
Mike Lee is
there's
something we'll need to talk about.
there is a scene in that is even if you were gagging from the chocolate in that scene, there's a scene that's worse in Life is Sweet involving sex and chocolate. So
God. Um. Yeah, but he's. Oh yeah, he said he puts the chocolate in this inside of her, and he just goes, "I want to taste that delicious milk chocolate." Oh God. Okay. Ryan Phillippe
freaks,
play,
everybody's a freak.
Ryan Phillippe playing a pervert in two films 2 years apart. Fantastic. Give him an award. Because Cruel Intentions, it's like he went from chocolate involved in this not that bad, and then to wanting to fuck his stepsister. But um,
Got that dog in him.
he's got that dog in him, and he's hopefully didn't have that chocolate in him in this as well. But uh, that was a moment, and it's funny. His character is so brief in this, but I still think he was one of the standouts in this film. I think his character, what was his name? Shad was very funny.
Chad.
Yeah, he was very over the top. But yeah, so what are I know this is your least favorite of the three. So sort of give me your thoughts on this.
I mean, now that we're talking about it, I'm like, man, I kind of liked it. I liked it a lot. But no, I mean, I still enjoyed it. I have this weird thing though with like I don't know how many people listening know this, but I my day job is I'm a video editor, and so I'm very uh critical of editing in movies. And I don't know, just something about the editing. It was very, and maybe that was the point, right? Because it's this MTV style filmmaking, but the editing was just all over the place. Um, that was one of the things for me that I was like, oh man, I wish the editing was a little better. I just like when films give you moments to breathe because I like to do that in my films and also in my edits. I let things breathe. So and it's just a taste thing for me. But I don't know, fast editing sometimes doesn't do it for me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And this is definitely not a like subtle or movie that leaves you any breathing room. This is a very suffocating like assault on the
Hmm.
senses.
Yeah, which I'm trying to think back to like the Doom generation, and I feel like it didn't have that frenetic of editing. At least not so much that I was taking note of it. But I mean, there's a scene at the beginning in Nowhere where it's like they're in like a restaurant or something, and it is like cut, 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 cut. Any line of dialogue, and it's like immediately cutting, and I'm like, oh man, like give me some room to breathe and digest this a little bit.
Yeah, this movie feels like this being on drugs in a lot of ways. Like it's
It
very,
does.
very aggressive. Like if this is not your style, like if you this is a movie where if you watch the first 5 minutes and you're not having a good time, you are going to absolutely hate this movie.
Yeah.
But
Again,
the
I did
interesting.
it.
Oh no, you can go ahead.
I was just good. I didn't necessarily hate it, but yeah, in terms of the other three or the other two, I enjoyed the other two a little more.
What I do think is funny about this one is this is shocking to me. Apparently, Gregg Araki submitted this movie as it stands to the MPAA, and he was asking for a PG-13 rating.
That's crazy.
Because this is the furthest thing from a PG. I even looked it up. He purposefully didn't write the word shit or fuck in the dialogue of this to get a PG-13, and I
That's
didn't know
crazy.
that until after I had already seen this, and it was
Uh huh.
almost noticeable. I'm like, this has so much less cussing than the Doom generation. I mean, the Doom generation is like a Tarantino movie at like that point, but
Yeah. Yeah.
how did he think this would ever pass with the PG-13 rating is absolutely beyond me.
Yeah. I mean, the big red flag would just be the suicide scene. I mean, that scene
Yeah.
alone, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, is enough to get you an R
Yeah,
rating.
it's a gory movie.
Yeah.
It's
Lots of drug use. That's the other flag the MPAA would have.
Greg Araki got to be the only director that says, "I'm gonna make a movie where a man explodes and an alien comes out. People are doing drugs and having sex and talking about all this stuff, and yeah, I'm gonna get a PG-13 rating."
Yeah, no problem.
And something interesting about these as well that I forgot to touch on. It's just a little. It's not like thematically related or anything, but the parents in all three of these movies are the parents from 80s sitcoms. Like literally every single
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. They're all not there. They're all just kind of, they don't really know what's going
Mm-hmm.
on in their child's lives.
And they are also like literally um, sitcom actors. Like
Yeah.
it's
Oh, really?
crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I looked this up. Like I kind of got that feeling. Like the parents are like very comical. Um, Gosh, and was it in? I think it was in Nowhere. I may be getting this and totally fucked up, mixed up, but I do think it was in Nowhere where the kid goes home to his parents and they just start speaking a different language to him, and he just starts going, "Uh huh."
That's nowhere. Because the
Yeah,
guy comes home and he's like all fucked up, and his parents are just like speaking gibberish. He's just like, yeah, uh huh, yeah, uh huh. And
yeah.
then he goes
And
to his badass room with all the writing on the wall.
I have to say that about Gregg Araki. Despite these being like not like I don't know action or like sci-fi or any of those types of films, the set design of the kids' rooms in these, man,
Incredible.
fantastic. Absolutely love them. Um, yeah. So final thoughts on the trilogy here, and we will uh, talk about what's next for the podcast and everything here. But final thoughts on the trilogy here.
I mean, it's great. I mean, I can't believe it's taken me this long to check it out. I feel like if I saw these movies when I was like 16 or 17, they would probably be my favorite movies when I
Yeah,
was that age. Um, yeah, which again, partially that was because they were so hard to see. So, I mean, thanks to Criterion for releasing these, giving them. I mean, Nowhere especially, I feel like looked beautiful. Like the 4K scan of
yeah.
it
No, it
was
really did.
incredible.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. Yeah, coming off the end of these, I mean, Greg Araki's now up there with like the likes of, for me, like a John Waters esque like punk rock filmmaker.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, really enjoy these. I'm sure we will go back to Greg Araki in the future for some film or another. Maybe do a double
Hmm.
feature of Smiley Face and Mysterious Skin, and just completely give ourselves whiplash depending on which of those films we watch first.
Yeah.
Uh,
Preferably, you'd probably watch Mysterious Skin first, and then do Smiley Face to ease yourself out of the depression.
I or just totally mess with yourself and watch Smiley Face completely sober, and then get stoned and watch Mysterious Skin just ruin your
That's
night.
a challenge right there.
Um, but yeah, do highly recommend all three of these if you are into any sort of like I would even say like exploitation filmmaking and to a certain degree. These are definitely like essential viewing.
Especially, I mean, like you mentioned, the Doom generation. It's almost like in the same canon as like a Tarantino film. So
Yeah, if you, it's I would say it's the most accessible of the three.
I would agree.
Especially for like this sort of films community that we both sort of come of here. I feel like that's the most digestible, despite being very over the top. It's one of those films that, like, if you've seen a Tarantino movie, like if you've seen Pulp Fiction or anything of that ilk, where it's very like over the top maximalist style, you would definitely enjoy this.
Yeah, you could almost pair it with this isn't a Tarantino film, but it's a Tarantino script. You could almost pair it with True Romance. I feel like that could be an interesting little double.
Yeah, we need to. We might actually. I mean, this podcast is just going to be for anybody listening here, just whatever films catch our fancy, and we will obviously demonstrate that by the next films that we're going to be covering here because it is a complete 180. But um, we will. Yeah, we'll. If you guys have any suggestions, this is going to be up on my YouTube channel. I'll have Instagram posts in here. We're going to start doing questions in the future. This is just the first episode here. Leave little comments. Like if you have movies you want us to cover, let us know. Even if it's not something you'd think that we'd enjoy, I feel like there's a joy of discovery in a lot of that.
Oh yeah. And that's I mean, that's a big part of the podcast for me is discovering new things and talking about them. So,
And Maxwell's going to be very upset and rue the day that he said those words when we cover our next three films here, which is we just discussed earlier. It is the Violence Jack OVA trilogy. Um, if no one here, it's I feel like they've gotten more popular over the years, but Violence Jack is unfortunately. Uh, I mean, there's a lot of things I could even end that with. It unfortunately exists, um, because they're completely diabolical. But for anyone that doesn't know, Violence Jack was a mid and late '80s, and going through, I think the third film was right at 1990. Um, Anime OVA series about this guy, literally named Violence Jack, um, committing just absolutely diabolical acts. He's supposed to be the hero, but as we will talk about next time, is absolutely not. These are probably the sleaziest and most foul anime films that I can think of that are not just outright hentai. So, um, I know you haven't seen these, so hold on to those words where you say you're looking forward
yeah.
to discovering things.
but you had texted me about this morning, and before you texted me, I had no clue about these movies. So, and I fucking ordered all of them on Amazon. So, we'll see.
God bless Jeff Bezos. For,
Little does he know, I'm using his company to order these crazy movies, but
and we will obviously get into that next time, but especially when we get to Violence Jack Evil Town, I expect some text messages about almost every second of that movie. Um, so, warning in advance for returning viewers here, the next episode will include cannibalism, assault, graphic violence, and a man doing a for lack of I mean for in all sincerity he does a suplex on a helicopter. So
that's what sold me. When you said
is
he does a fucking suplex on a helicopter, that's what I was like, all right, I'm watching this. I don't care.
my review of the third movie is literally just this movie features a man doing a wrestling move on a helicopter, and hey, I just think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
So yeah, episode 1. Thanks everybody for listening. We will see you in a couple weeks here, with 3 vastly different films in this. So be prepared for us to get very I don't know. It's gonna be a good conversation when we get to this because they are absolutely diabolical.
Yeah.
That was 2 cookies and a Coke, everyone. Strap in. There's
Let's go.
two more 20 somethings with the podcast, which is something that everyone asked for. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Peace.